Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Mag Show. I want to continue a conversation that we started on Monday on Magcast, and I want to expand on it because I've had a few days to think about it, and I want to talk about how it relates to the gaming industry, that gaming is at a crossroads. It certainly is, and where we're going to move from here. So I don't need to reiterate what happened last week. We all know what happened last week, and we've all seen the tweets. We've all seen the posts on Blue Sky. We've all seen the dances on TikToks. We've seen all of that stuff, okay? And we see what's happening now to some of those people. Just remember something, folks. Free speech is free, but you are not free of consequence. This should come as no surprise that people were fired across the gaming industry for things that they have said, posted, or videos, whatever. It should come as no surprise. That is not something new. That did not start last week. That started decades ago. Facebook, MySpace, all those places. It's in the handbooks of all these corporations now that if you work for a corporation, you represent that corporation in all aspects of your life. If you don't like that, you are free to quit. You are free to never take the job to begin with. You have every right to do so. They're not chaining you to the desk, but that is part of your social responsibility working for these companies. I deal with it daily. You post something egregious on social media, it can get you fired. Plain and simple. And it's been, like I said, it's been happening for decades. This is nothing new. People are acting like it's new. People are acting like, oh my God, I'm being victimized. No, you're not being victimized. You victimized yourself. This channel here, something I wanted to talk about very briefly. This channel here accepts everybody in a respectful manner. I don't care if you're the left. I don't care if you're the right. I don't care if you love Trump or you hate Trump or JD Vance or you don't like Elon Musk or you hate Obama or you love Kamala Harris or you hate or love Charlie Kirk. It doesn't matter here. If you do have any thoughts and opinions about those things, this is a gaming channel first. However, these things, no matter what, you could say, oh, this is a gaming channel. That still spills out into all facets of our life. So it made its way to all these YouTube channels as well. You are free to feel however you want to feel on this channel, as long as you are respectful, as long as you are open to common sense, decency, and discourse, you will always be welcomed here. If you love a game, you hate a game, great. As long as you can have a civilized discussion about it. There will be no threats of violence here. There will be no celebration of anybody's death here. There will be no hate here. Everybody is accepted here. Black, white, Latino, Asian, Italian, whatever. You are all welcome here as a family. And all the people that do watch this channel are incredibly respectful and wonderful people. And I'm not just saying that because it's my channel. They really are. I talk to these people in the real world. DMs, everything else, even on the telephone. We talk to each other. Great, wonderful people here. And that will continue to happen here. However, we need to discuss what's happened in the industry. So, people got fired. A lot of people got fired. Fair enough. But where do we go from here now? We have to look at that. You've cut out pieces of the cancer. Great. Some of you put out some statements. Microsoft put out a statement. Say we will not tolerate this kind of behavior here on a social level or a responsibility level, whatever. They did all that. Okay, that's already out there. But where do we go from here? It doesn't end with that. I am not asking for a witch hunt, not in any which way or form, because that swings the hammer the other way. One extreme does not offset another extreme. Okay, that's not the way you do it. What has to happen is there has to be some kind of a compromise in this industry, because what has been happening over the last 10 years, we saw it with Gamergate 1, Gamergate 2, and everything else. And there's something else I wanted to say. We have to stop grouping other issues into one issue like this one. We cannot funnel all these other things into one and saying, oh, well, this is woke, or this is that, or this is this. We cannot do that either. Like, for example, when people were complaining and moaning about Ghost of Yotei featuring a woman, that is not the same thing, but I see people trying to group that into the same scenario that is happening right now. That is not accurate. That is not fair. and that is not level-headed. If you go back 30 plus years, some of the biggest video game franchises in the pantheon of gaming, Tomb Raider, Resident Evil, starred woman, right? There was no problem then. Mind you, we didn't have internet back then, so you didn't get this subsect of people that have access now that we all have to suffer through. Sometimes I feel like the internet was probably the worst thing to happen to humankind. I think it really is, because now, not only are all the great people out there, but it's also opened the door to a small percentage of people who are completely and utterly insane. And we're forced to sit there and have to listen to that or see that. Sure, you can block them, but someone else pops up in their place. In the old days, everybody had a village idiot. I'm the one in mine. You know what I mean? And so they were all there, but now we're exposed to all of that. So what do? What do we have to do? Now, we're not saying that you have to ostracize everybody who doesn't feel the same way. That is wrong too. Because if you don't feel the same way, you shouldn't ostracize that person. You don't even have to have a discussion with them. You could just live peacefully and have your own separate views. And you don't even have to engage. You don't have to have the debate and discussion all the time with people. You don't. You could just live in harmony and feel the way that you want to feel. But the problem is, in the video game industry, it has swung so hard. And then it feels like people feel it. You don't tell me people can't feel it, because they do. It feels like it's being shoved down your throat so hard, or that you're being beaten over the head with a hammer, that people are starting to push back, but they're like, I don't want this. And I don't even think that a lot of it has to do with the ideals. I think a lot of it has to do with the execution of it. And it's so forceful, and it's something that needs to be examined. Well, this is the perfect time for this to happen, because things are being examined right now. You don't think Bethesda, all the heads are sitting around a big oak table right now having this discussion? They are. They may not have made a public statement, but they are talking about it. Absolutely, they are talking about it. You don't think discussions are happening at Sony over the sucker punch situation, or Bethesda with that clip that they put up of Indiana Jones? You don't think that these are all things that are being discussed? Well, listen, this is what I think has to happen. You done step one. You cut out certain people. Great. Done. Let that be a warning to others who want to say egregious things online. It's okay to feel a certain way, and you can say things online. Just, you take it over the line, expect consequence. But now, what do? Some you made a statement. Okay, that's step two. Done. I think what has to happen here at this point is that there needs to be some kind of a social responsibility. There needs to be a look inwards. These companies have to look at who they're hiring, what's being said, what's being put into the writing. They have to look at all of that stuff and say, listen, guys, that's a little extreme. You know what I mean? A quality control guy. It doesn't have to be the Gestapo, but it's something that could be like, hey, you know what? That's a little much. And certainly, can you shut up on social media with all of the things? You're egging on people. You're pissing off. I'm not going to say 50 fans. You're probably pissing off more than that. Because I know that the people who are on the left, for example, who disagree with a lot of what's going on right now. And that brings me to my next point. Some of these corporations, these big buildings, this is where I start to think about it. And I'm not asking you for sympathy. I'm not asking you to go ahead and give your hard-earned money. We'll get into that in a moment. But just think about it. I just want you to sit back and reflect and think about it. Activision Blizzard has 13,000 to 17,000 employees. Sucker Punch has anywhere from 240 to 400 people working there. The number was never exact. Bethesda has about 450 plus people working at the company right now. Square Enix, 3,000 people. Do you think that every single one of those people feel this way? Not a chance. Do you think that all those people were dancing and celebrating at the death of another human being? No, they weren't. A lot of those people working there are married, might have kids, have 2 cars in the driveway, have a house, have a mortgage, and whatever, and they're working their asses off to make great games for all of us. Imagine how they feel. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just think about it. Just sit back and reflect and think, man, that must suck. Imagine sitting there going, this guy just ruined my Christmas bonus. This guy just basically took away my family vacation because now I'm not going to get that performance bonus based on pre-orders or whatever, right? Or this lady caused all of this confusion and people protesting and whatever else and people getting canceled online or whatever. And we can't group them all in there like that. We cannot. You think that out of 13,000 to 17,000 employees, they all feel the same way? Not a chance. Not a chance. So we can't all just funnel everything into that same, because that is what toxic people do. And we are not toxic here. We are critical thinkers here. Okay? And that's something that is very important. We have to be able to differentiate all those things. Now, getting to the money situation, I am not asking you to support these companies. If you choose to boycott, that is 100% your choice, your freedom. This is our hobby. This is our passion. Now this is part of my career. And I love it. I've been gaming for 46 years. And never in my 46 years have I ever seen a situation that has spiraled so out of control. Almost half a century in this industry. And I've never seen anything like this before. And it's getting worse. It needs to be stopped. Now, back to your money. You get up every day. You're the one who has to brush your teeth, take a shower, get in your car, get on the bus, get on the subway, the train, and go to work and bust your hump over there so that you could feed your family. You could keep your spouse or your husband happy, whatever. So whatever money's left over, things are hard these days. Things are very expensive these days. Shrinkflation is a real thing. And so whatever little money is left over for us, that is 100% your choice. If you choose to boycott Ghost of Yotei, great. If you choose to buy it, great. If you choose to boycott Blizzard, Activision, Bethesda, you are free to do so. And you will not be persecuted here, especially on this channel. Like I said, I will support you every single which way as long as you're civil. And that's totally fine. And I respect your decision. If I choose to buy it, I do not want to be vilified for doing that. If I choose to keep my pre-order of Ghost of Yotei, do not vilify me for that. That is my choice entirely. But these companies shouldn't have us in the streets squabbling about this kind of thing. They need to look inward and start to change the culture around their business. Because without us, they will lose their business. Without us, you're not making billions. Without us, you're not buying that vacation house in Malibu or in the Dominican Republic. So make sure you take a good, long, hard look at yourselves, video game industry, and really start to focus on what's important. Keeping your fan base happy and the people that work there. It is okay to feel a certain way. You are free to believe anything you want, but just keep it out of the business side of things and keep it out of that industry. That's all I'm asking. You could continue to work there. You could continue to make a life there. No one's trying to take food off your table. You're doing that to yourself. And this is going to spill out into the head office of these buildings. And that's what's happening now. Now they're starting to feel the pinch, the financial pinch, the social PR. That's very important to them as well, because the way that a company is looked at is how a customer will decide whether to give their hard-earned money to them. And that is important. It's all about image as well, right? It's very important. So they need to look inwards. And us as gamers, let's not fight with each other. Let's not decide who's righteous and who isn't. Let's just work together, understand that we have differences. We will always have differences. That's never going to change until the last human leaves this planet. That is never going to change. So the only thing that we can do is learn to live in harmony with each other and have a great time in this hobby that we love so much. Not fight, not go after each other, not say horrible things in the live chat to each other. That's not right. That's not the way that we do things. And that's not the way that we should continue to do things. So let's be the bigger people out there and start to understand that we can live with our differences and learn to live together. and let the video game industry figure that out, because they're going to have to. Because if they don't, they're going to find themselves in a hole that they may not be able to dig themselves out of. Either way, everybody have yourself a wonderful day. Stay magnificent. Be nice to each other. Be civil. And have a great day.